Today we have, I think, most important section. It's science impact on biotechnology industry and biotechnology business, and on the results of research science actually depends directly on profit of companies, pharmaceutical. Well, today we will have 7 presentations. And it means 13 minutes for each presentation. If speaker wants to save some minutes for questions, means he must shrink a little bit his presentation, but no more than 13 minutes. We must finish our section exactly on time. And now I would like to invite Dr. Daumantas Matulis. He is head of laboratory of Institute of Biotechnology of Vilnius University, and he will present an overview of Lithuanian pharmaceutical industry.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lubnavicius. Can you hear me? Is the microphone on? So my task is to overview Lithuanian pharmaceutical industry and give some position of it among other 3 Baltics countries. So first, we're talking, there will be other presentations that will deal on biopharmaceuticals. My task is to overview pharmaceuticals. Those are chemicals, either synthetic or naturally occurring, or like phytochemicals. And unfortunately, we're nowhere near as strong as, for example, Latvian pharmaceutical industry. We're really tiny come here, although we have several players, but we have stronger biotech industry and have stronger biotechnology than regular pharmaceuticals. So I try to overview where organic synthesis is happening in Lithuania. And there are several places at Vilnius University. There is a Center for Physical Sciences and Technology. Part of it used to be an Institute of Chemistry. And there is Kaunas Technological University. Other laboratories of organic synthesis are relatively weak, but we hope that there will be more, and more organic synthesis will grow. So at Vilnius University, Department of Organic Chemistry, and they have a small company, which I translated as precision synthesis. And we at the Institute of Biotechnology have a laboratory or Department of Biothermodynamics and Drug Design. We do some organic synthesis there too. And at Kaunas Technological University, they have several places, Faculty of Chemical Technology and Institute of Synthetic Chemistry. But that's about all there is where real research, real discovery of novel compounds, of novel possible pharmaceutical ingredients is happening in Lithuania. Now, if we go to industry, unfortunately, we don't have an industry that would have a true R&D or true research department where from entire path of a drug from early discovery, early stage to lead discovery towards all the way to development would occur. We have rather fragmented pharmaceutical situation. And Sanitas Group is one of the strongest players where in Kaunas they have a factory where quite a few generic compounds are being synthesized. It has been recently also purchased, similar to Thermo Fisher Scientific that purchased and Teva purchased C4 Biotech. So again, Teva is a generic drug maker from Israel, and they acquired C4 Biotech several years ago. And since then, the number of drugs being produced here is wider, but all of the drugs are generic drugs, and primarily they are concentrated on biopharmaceuticals, and that will be overviewed by Professor Verbian. Again, another strong player, Thermo Fisher, is also strong in biotechnology, but they have a lot of molecular biology reagents. They make a lot of reagents that are necessary or important even for laboratories like ours, that we use their services and their products for our research. However, they do not produce pharmaceuticals or active ingredients as such. So that's about it as far as producers. Now we have another major step for making a drug, which is very important in drug industry, is clinical trials. Early discovery is just one step. Then you have animal testing, and after that you have to go through clinical trials that are the most expensive and the longest stage of making any drug. And here I included one small company of 20-some people, where Daumantas, they are recently, they're rather new. But there are companies like that, and they say there are more than 10 of such small companies that organize clinical trials, and a number of them are going in Lithuania. So, and we have a state medicine control agency, which approves all new drugs in Lithuania. And another association just created last year, or year before last, the Innovative Pharmaceutical Industry Association. They also are trying to unite the industry that is innovative and makes novel drugs. And they also concentrate on clinical trials. And they gave me some data, they provided me some data, but they said that even they don't know exactly how many clinical trials are happening in Lithuania and what exactly the amount is being paid, what is the value of those trials, because some of the CROs have this information secret. So from their committee report, we see that we have, for example, dynamics of new clinical trial investigations in Lithuania has been roughly around 100 per year, which is not a small number. So there are quite a few hospitals and other places where these investigations are occurring. Now, if we look into the world pharmaceutical industry, and we see two major trends. One trend is huge increase in expense and R&D, and you can see that annual expense almost reached $50 billion in just before crisis, and then for the first time in history, in 40 years, it declined in 2009 due to financial crisis. But and this R&D is also as a percent of revenue also has increased, but slightly. However, despite all this enormous increase in spending, there was a steady decrease in made drugs. And if in the 60s we had nearly 80 drugs per year, then 70s fewer and fewer, and now last year we had only 19 drugs approved, new chemical entities approved as drugs in the United States, FDA. So that means that the whole process is becoming much more strictly controlled, and we have fewer and fewer drugs and few blockbusters. And major pharmaceutical industry also had large layoffs in the last few years because of this situation, large restructuring. So we're probably going to face a new phase in pharmaceutical discovery. Now, just for comparison, with Lithuania, where average number was nearly 100 or about 100 or a little over 100 in some years, dynamics of these investigations in Estonia numbers are slightly smaller, and we also see a significant decrease since 2007, which is maybe partially due to crisis, but may show something. And if you compare it to Sweden, which is a country nearby these Baltic states, we have a rather steady situation, but slight decrease of about 500 or 300 deaths. So if you then go into and compare various countries and compare clinical trial site density per 1 million population, we see that Estonia, Lithuania are not far from each other when we have this. But basically, that's the situation. Now, using this opportunity, that's all I wanted to say about clinical trials. I will use this opportunity and spend a couple of minutes presenting our department and what we do. And we have been trying to get advantage of science in between organic synthesis, which is regular organic synthesis or conventional organic synthesis, and biomolecules. We're interested in the energies of interaction between drugs and human proteins. So we study biothermodynamic reactions, and that's what we consider as a possible new area where new inventions could be made using these methods. And we have collected largest calorimeter collection in Eastern Europe, as we claim, but we don't know until somebody tells that we are not right. No, this is not true. But there are out of 7 of them made, we have 5. Here we show 4. And in several years since we were established, we made several groups of novel compounds through direct rational design. So we take protein target and design compounds to that target, synthesize them, measure the energies, then synthesize more, determine the best ones through structure activity correlations. And that way we come up with compounds that could be out-licensed and could be sent for further development. And my wish is that the Lithuanian pharmaceutical industry would be maybe more organized, and we would have a more organized path of how compounds are being pushed all the way to the product, because so far we only have at a very early stage. So that's all I wanted to say, and if you have questions, I will leave a few minutes for that. Otherwise, we should probably try to save time.
Okay, thank you. 2 minutes for questions. No questions? Okay, you say 1.5 minutes. Okay, thank you very much.